should we do vinyl? Should we go ahead and do vinyl real quick? Yeah, let's do some vinyl. All right, hold
Tommaso
on.
Ciampa has
All right, so we'll do some vinyl here while we're playing the game, or not playing the game, but just what I wanted to talk to you about before was here every once in a while I'll interrupt the stream, and since we're done with the stream for tonight, I'll shout out some recent vinyl purchase to you because that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about. I have to get on my Discogs, not Discog, you know. I have to get onto my Discogs, which keeps track of what I have gotten in the last few days. So let's start out with Tooth and Nail by Dokken. I've been looking for any Dokken on vinyl, and it's just not working out, man. It's so expensive. Excuse me. It's so expensive and so out of control. Like how limited of copies there are of any Dokken album. I'm looking specifically for Under Lock and Key and Tooth and Nail. Um, the first one's already out there, Breaking the Chains, but it's like really expensive. I just don't know if I want to spend that kind of money. Um, we're talking about like 80, $100. Anyhow, so one of the record stores that I go to, I told the guy that I was looking for Dokken, and he said, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "Tooth and Nail." Right away, he turned around, and he came back with a copy, and he pulled it out, and he goes, "I got one here," and it was warped. He said, it played fine for me, but it might not for you, so I can't really sell it. It didn't have a slipcase in it or anything, so and the cover wasn't in great shape, but I was just glad to get it, and he gave it to me free because he's a cool guy. And when you become friends with your local record stores, they'll do that for you. Walmart won't do that for you. Hell, my Walmart actually keeps the albums locked up. So you have to ask somebody to say, "Hey, can I look at the albums?" and then stand there with them staring at you while you look through all the albums. Yeah, not a good way. But anyway, Tooth and Nail Dokken. I've been looking for that one for a long time. I haven't seen if it plays yet. We'll see. But I got it for free. So True Blue was another one I picked up about $8. It's one of my favorite Madonna albums. It's got a lot of good songs on it. But I've been trying. I haven't been collecting Madonna that much because I kind of got the Immaculate Collection, which has got what I want on it. But I mean, when I see something for $8, especially True Blue, and it's a really good copy, I definitely pick it up. Against the Wind, that was like $8. I got that one solely because that was my dad and I's favorite Bob Seger album. There was only a few bands that my dad listened to me with me. I mean, he would tolerate my pop music and stuff like Men at Work and even Madonna and stuff. If it was just playing in the car. But two of our favorite people to listen to were Foreigner and Bob Seger. And our favorite album was Against the Wind. We had it on 8-track, and man, it got worn out. We played it all the time. So that gives me good memories of my dad, because which is one of the main reasons I got into vinyl, is because my parents collected vinyl when I was a kid. So I started playing stuff like the Carpenters, and because that's what we had, this big vinyl oak thing, and I started playing stuff. Like the Carpenters and Neil Diamond, of course, and Barry Manilow and all the stuff they listen to. But they listen to some hip groovy stuff too, like Fifth Dimension, and I'm trying to think of who else. Some of those groovy. Oh, Three Dog Night, you know. So, but that was one of the reasons. That was the main reason I got the Against the Wind, because I had to have it. And at $8, that one was good copy. This guy's place, I'll shout it out. Retro Music, I think it's called. I'll have to get back to you on that, but it's an Ada. It's called Retro Music, I think. Face Value, Phil Collins, 81. It's an early album for him, but man, it was really good. I think is that his first? I'm not definitely sure. I'd have to check and see. I have Face Value, and I have the other one that has Sudia and all those good songs on it. My favorite Genesis album of all time, by the way, is the one with Mama on it. I can't remember the name of it, and all that, and all those. I love the song Mama. Anyway, so I got that Phil Collins Face Value. I think that was like $10. Once Upon a Time, Simple Minds. They're not only known for the Breakfast Club theme. There's a good song definitely on this with "Alive and Kicking," which is a great Simple Minds song. And there's some other stuff if you can tolerate 80s John Hughes era music, which I do like it. If you like that kind of music, definitely check out Simple Minds' other releases like this Once Upon a Time. I'm glad that I got that on vinyl. It was cheap too. Power Station, 33 and a third. Remember that album? I love it. I think I did own it when I was a kid, either on cassette or on. I probably owned it on vinyl at the time. and that was of course the supergroup made up of Robert Palmer, who already had a career on his own, and the two guys from Duran Duran, John Taylor and Andy Taylor. And I loved Andy Taylor. When we were kids, man, like I was a metalhead and stuff, so like my entrance into metalhead was Kiss and Ozzy, early Ozzy. After I didn't really know Black Sabbath, I knew Ozzy for like the Blizzard of Oz and Bark at the Moon. I mean, I bought all those albums, and ACDC. So I'd say ACDC, Kiss, and Ozzy are my three main inspirations into a life of heavy metal. And so what I'm trying to get at is I wasn't a big Duran Duran fan. I did like some of their songs. I wouldn't have said it around anybody. At the time, we had, school cliques, and one of them was Metalheads, which was me, and Degenerates, which was me, or and then also, like your jocks and stuff like that. But there were the Durannies, which were the people that loved Duran Duran and dressed in long trench coats and feathered their hair up and all that kind of stuff. And we didn't get along at all. And you dare not be in the metal community and say, I have a Duran Duran album at home. But I really did like them in secret. And now I'm not ashamed of anything, so it doesn't matter. Um, uh, yeah, but Andy Taylor was a great guitarist. I always thought he was really good. And he was just kind of left to the background in Duran Duran because of all the synth and Simon Le Bon's gorgeous face and vocals. But so that was the big super group at that time was, like I said, Robert Palmer, John Taylor, which is, and they're not related, John Taylor and Andy Taylor. John played bass, Andy played guitar, and then Andy later had a solo album that I bought. I can't remember what the name of it was, um, but he had like one big hit on it, or semi big hit, played on MTV, and the album was kind of good. It wasn't great. I mean, what do you want? He's the guitarist for Duran Duran. Um, Dawn Patrol by Night Ranger, which was an early one. I've never been a big Night Ranger fan, but I've been finding a lot of Night Ranger for good prices, like $8. I think I got this for like these prices usually range from like 8 to 10 on some minimal stuff, regular stuff, and then you'll start getting up to 15, $20. Like they had a Kiss Double Platinum, and he wanted $15 for it, but I counted myself out. I was trying to just get like under $10 items that day. Unless it was something really special, then I'd pay 15, $20 for it, which I don't think I saw anything there. I picked up the new Ozzy album. We'll talk about that in a minute. And that's what cost me my money. I got the Loverboy album. I think it's one of the first ones, or the first one, 1980. Just the one called Loverboy. It's got some good tunes on it. And I've been wanting that one. I've been wanting to get some Loverboy because me and my friend back in the day, we used to listen to a lot of Loverboy. We thought they were pretty cool. I've seen them twice. They came to Lima twice, and they're pretty good. But anyhow, then I also picked up "Loving Every Minute of It," which is another Loverboy song. A little bit later in their career, they only had the one hit off of it, "Loving Every Minute of It," but it's a good song. And also 1983. This is Huey Lewis's first album, and I didn't know that. I thought his first album was "Picture This." I think that's what it's called. Um, and I got Huey Lewis in the news. I thought I had all of his albums, but I didn't. I saw this there. It was like $10, and I'm like, I gotta have it. I mean, I think there's only one song on it that I actually even know. I mean, I've heard the rest of the songs, but I mean that would have been a hit. I'm looking right now. "Don't Ever Tell Me That You Love Me," "Trouble in Paradise," that was a big hit. Um, Now You're Stop, "Make Me Do It," "My Lies Are True." So I didn't really even know this album existed. I didn't. I thought "Picture This" was the first one, if that's what it's called. Then I pretty much stocked up on my Judas Priest. That was one of the first collections I got back together again, because that was a huge one when I was a kid. But I hadn't gotten Unleashed in the East, and I just saw it there, and it was $10, and I was like, it was still in the shrink wrap and everything. And he puts his all his records in, the outer sleeves anyway, that they put the clear outer sleeves, to make sure they're protected. But yeah, it was in really decent shape, and it was had the shrink wrap on it, and I wasn't even thinking about getting it because I'm not a big live album fan, and I was like, well, I've already got the Turbo Tour live, which is the live album they did in the '90s that came out, or late '80s, I can't remember. Anyway, it's during the Turbo Tour, and I can't remember the album's name. It's the live album, but I never thought about getting Unleashed in the East. I don't even think I've heard it. It's one of the few albums I didn't get, but I mean, $10. I mean, awesome. Friend or Foe, Adamant. I love Adamant. One of the first guys that I was really into that was kind of flamboyant. That would have been around the time, that Boy George was coming out. And, for our time, that was, shocking. Or But anyway, I always thought Adam Ant was just the coolest. I thought he was just a cool guy. Plus, his music was good. If you haven't checked out older Adam Ant, there's a song called One. I think it's Wonderful, by him on one of his later albums. That's so good. Every time I hear it, it just fills my heart. It's just so great. I think it's called Wonderful. How wonder, and I'm not even gonna try and sing it. So I got Adam Ant, friend or foe. It's got Goody Two Shoes on there. Goody Two Shoes. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? When I was a kid, my parents' friends, their daughter, who I used to hang out with because my parents hung out with her mom and dad. She had this big door poster of Adam Ant, I remember, and she was so in love with him. So that was what I got at the retro place. Then I went to Gromy's, which is my place, my local shop. Got the patient number 9 because he'd been waiting. He was holding it for me, and it's good. It's not as best. They're not as good as the last one, but it's still a pretty good album. It's got some good tunes on it. It's kind of cool to see Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton on an Ozzy album. I mean, I think probably the last 3 albums, Black Rain, Ordinary Man, and this one, are probably some of his best work in years. There was a lot of albums in between late '90s, 2000s that were real shit, and they were putting out a lot of. And I still don't believe the fact of Sharon Osbourne going back and retracking all the albums and taking Bob Daisley and the other guy, I can't remember his name right now, that was in Ozzy's band at the time, off of it, and redoing it with newer guys. I don't think that was cool. But she does a lot of stuff that I don't think is cool. I mean, she turned the Prince of Darkness basically into a fluffy toy, after the Osbournes and everything else she's done. But whatever. I mean, when I was a fan when he was a kid, we used to be scared of him, or not scared of him, but we just didn't think he was cool because he was scary. Another one I picked up was Samantha Fish, Faster. The reason I picked it up because it was so cheap, and I heard her on the radio a couple times or on XM, and I kind of liked it. I know she's a big deal right now, or at my record shop they're all talking about her, so I'm like, I'll give it a try, and it's a good price. It was a really good price. I'll check it out. I hope it's a good album by her. It was released in 2021. Then I got Built for Speed, Stray Cats. Love the Stray Cats. I know I say I love a lot of things, but I do. There's so much entertainment that I love. But I'm a big Stray Cats fan from way back in the day. Sexy and 17, my little rock and roll queen. Love Brian Setzer. Turned my dad into a fan of Brian Setzer later in the day when Stray Cats broke up, and he went around touring, doing his big band stuff and putting albums out for Christmas and doing big band albums. He put a lot. Brian Setzer on his own has put a lot of good albums out. But Built for Speed's got a couple of the classics on it, so that was a good. And I think that was in the used rack, and I think it was probably about $10. Redemption Song, that's another one. When you know your record shop guys, they give you free stuff sometimes. And he had just bought a bunch of these Bob Marley and the Wailers 12 inches. It's got like one song on the one side of the album and then like a live version of Redemption Song, which is a good song by Marley. My favorite was always Jammin'. We're jamming. Oh, take a second jamming with me. Oh, we're jamming. Oh, man. Okay. But yeah, so that was a freebie, which was pretty cool. Because he got him for really cheap, which usually means he probably got him for free from somebody. He's got so many people. Soil, I got picked up Soil. Play It Forward. I haven't picked up a Soil album in forever. I used to be a big fan of them when they were big there in the early 2000s or whatever it was, when I worked at Hot Topic back in the day. But yeah, it was a cool gig, and but anyway, yeah, Play It Forward. This is all cover songs, and that's why I bought it because I like Soil, and I love cover. You'll find out that I love cover song albums and just cover songs done differently. Some of them are horrible, but most cover songs I'm like, oh, this is a different take. This is cool. So I kind of like that. The End for Now, the new Slipknot album. You already know about that. I mean, I like it. It's good. Like I said before on one of the other streams, I think Slipknot's pretty much doing the same basic thing the last couple albums. So I'm not real excited when his new Slipknot album comes out, but it is on clear vinyl. It's pretty cool. Um, and I got the rest of the Slipknot, so you got to get that. The only one I don't have is Iowa. So if anybody in the chat has a copy of Iowa on vinyl, Yeah, it's really expensive. I don't know why. They must have not made many. And then the final one is Beat Street, the original motion picture soundtrack, guys. Beat Street. Do you remember Beat Street? Africa Bambata. And I forget who else is on that soundtrack, but I love the movie. There was two big movies from about breakdancing in the 80s, and that was Beat Street and Breakin', and they both took two different directions. Breakin' was very Hollywoodized and very shiny and very blockbuster-ish and very on the surface level breakdancing, whereas Beat Street was a lot more realism. It was about graffiti artists. It was New York City. It showed a dirty side of New York City, which uh, the other one didn't really show the dirty side of LA, or they tried to show poor people and stuff like that. And, it didn't. It just looked glamorized and breaking. Where Beat Street was really, it was more gritty. I would consider Beat Street gritty and Breaking glitzy and gritty. But yeah, the album is great. We used to listen to it and try to break dance when we were kids. I'm white. What the fuck? Break dancing? Are you kidding me? Anyway, so that's my final segment, guys. Glad you joined me. Check me out on Twitch. Stream every at least Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night around 1 a.m. till about 3, 4 sometimes. And we talk about movies and music while I stream a game. Right now, we're working on WWE 2K22. I got a career going with my boy, Death or Black Death. He's my Viking warrior. So check me out on stream on Twitch. I'll be putting some more stuff up on YouTube. And we're back, baby. The Culture of Pop, and I'm the Media Junkie. And I want you guys to have an amazing tomorrow and an even better tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.